So, also, some piece of news that we got, General Manager Ron Francis confirmed that he's been told he can send forward in the 2022 number 4 overall pick, Shane Wright, to the AHL if he doesn't make the NHL squad this year. Francis and the Kraken had sought exemption to these current rules that would have forced him to go back to the OHL this year. But the team general manager did say that he fully hopes he makes the team. And Wright today, after rookie camp, did say himself that he hopes and is fully planning on making the team as well. So that's it for Kraken-related news. What's upcoming for them is rookie camp tomorrow, by the time this is recorded. By the time this is seen, and then training camp for the week after that. So we get into it with the Reign here, and this one was frustrating. The final time that these teams will meet in the regular season, and the Reign fall to the Portland Thorns on the road by a 2-goal margin. Our player of the match, midfielder Olivia Vandriat, Olo had the best match rating on the Reign, 7.0 with 1 shot, 78% passing, 3 interceptions, and 14 recoveries. The Reign just made some silly mistakes defensively, some poor mistakes. This comes after the news that Fallon Tullis-Joyce has been transferred to Manchester United. I say it now without having the screen up just because of the fact that, this is something that's been big with the Reign, especially. We've got some other stuff that relates to the Reign as well, team news-wise, but this is the first game they've played without her. Claudia Dickey was in net, and it was a bumpy road for not only her, but the defense as well. And this is a tough one. It's a tough test against arguably the best team in the entire NWSL, and the Reign fall here. They fall. They had 9 shots. I think they're credited with 9 shots, but it really wasn't. It didn't feel like that. They only had 1 chance created. 3 chances went to Portland. It was a tough one. It was a really tough one. 14 shots for Portland, 3 big chances. They missed 2 of them. The Reign 1 big chance and they missed it. 9 total shots. The Reign had 6 corners though. I do remember that, and it wasn't all that great. Not like they did much in the corners there. Trying to see if there's anything else. Yeah, well, and then I always try to go through some of the statistics here on FootMob, and they've got a new thing. I think it's new where it's top stats, and I think, let's see, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Yeah, almost all of the Portland players, starting 11, made it into the top stats and ratings before we get to a Reign player, which was Olo, and then Olivia Moultrie, who was subbed in, beats the rest of the Reign players. Which, so it was a really tough one. It was a really tough one, but the finishing chances remain an issue for this club here. You're still wondering, when is this going to change? This happened after the Racing Louisville game. It was like, hey, you're able to generate chances, but you can't finish them. This has been the talk of the team the last 2 years, and I keep having to talk about it. So I'm going to try and not go further into it because we've already talked about this sort of thing. The Reign, as the final stretch comes here, they've got 3 matches remaining left in the regular season to kind of figure out where they're going to be standings-wise. And they're not going to be easy games necessarily. The first 2 games of these last 3, both of them will be at home, are against teams that currently sit in a playoff spot. The Spirit sit a point behind the Reign in 6th place, and the Courage sit a point above the Reign at 4th place. Their final game of the year is against the Chicago Red Stars, which is on the road as well. And the Red Stars have the least amount of points in the league, but it isn't going to be easy. Portland, they sit atop the league at 32 points. They'll likely win the Shield for the regular season champion. But yeah, you play the Courage on October 1st at home. They sit above you in points right now by 1 point. Their form isn't super great, but they're still hanging around. The Washington Spirit, who you'll play in the last regular season home game as well, their form's not as great either. So you're still kind of hanging around, but there are other teams who are just outside of the playoff picture who are gaining ground, who have much better form. You're going to want to pick it up. You're going to want to pick it up fast. Things are got to change quick. But there's some positive news, some happy news that we'll get to here. On the 12th, we found out that 5 Reign players were named to the U.S. Women's National Team roster for the September FIFA window. Alana Cook, Megan Rapinoe, she'll be playing in her farewell game for the U.S. Women's National Team there. Sofia Huerta, Rose Lavelle, and Emily Sonnet. Also on this day, the club picked up the 2024 option for midfielder Jess Fishlock. Later on in the week, they pick up the 2024 option for forward Jordan Heidema. So you're locking some of these pieces in here for next year. That's great. I'd love to see a Rose Lavelle extension. Would love that. But that hasn't come as yet. There's a lot of change going on in the club, and that's very interesting. As I mentioned, Fallon Tullis-Joyce is now with Manchester United. So the Reign goalkeeper depth chart is there with Claudia Dickey and Laurel Ivory. So that'll be something to worry about when expansion comes along there. When the expansion draft comes along, it's a lot. It's a lot for the Reign, and I'm sure it's a lot for the players. So try to give them some slack. I know they're probably dealing with a lot of this change. They're still trying to finish out the regular season. They're in a playoff chase, so it isn't going to be easy. As I mentioned, they've got their next 2 games are against teams that are fighting for playoff seeding as well. As the Reign try to improve from that 5th place spot, they sit at an 8-win, 8-loss record, 3 draws on the year, 5th in the league table, and they don't play until October 1st. So some time there. They've got the September FIFA window for those players, but definitely some time to kind of sit back and say, hey, we've got to figure out this finishing stuff. I don't know how to address that. It'll be certainly interesting to see that. It's not like it's necessarily a lineup thing because the lineup changes pretty regularly, but it's going to be tough to kind of end up higher. They're going to really need to focus. They're going to need a few teams to move out of the way and get some outside help. I talk about with other teams in their playoff chases and needing other teams to lose, so on and so forth. But they will need that. So, anywho's it. We'll wrap it up here with our Seattle